Okay, so we're live and we're ready to get started. Let's share this screen. There we go.
All right, we're getting started here. Good evening, everybody. This is the City of South Fulton Community Zoning Information Meeting, otherwise known as the CZIM. Today is Monday, November 8th at 6 o'clock. Next slide, please. Okay, if you have any comments for what you're about to see and hear today, please email them at planning@cityofsouthfultonga.gov. The rezonings and special use permits will be heard at our November 16th Planning Commission meeting, and the final decision will be rendered by our City Council on December 14th. Thank you.
Everyone, can you please mute yourself if you're not speaking right now? Thank you. Okay, so the first case that we're going to talk about today is Z2114. This is a rezoning across 3 partners on Butner Road, located in District 4. So this is for a assisted living facility that began operations in the 90s. In the 90s, the TR zoning designation was allowed for assisted living facilities. And so the applicant at the time chose TR to be in compliance with the zoning code that the municipality had at that time. We received a new updated zoning code that was adopted by our council in December of 2020, and given some best practices and land use changes and how we're organizing our zoning, TR is no longer the right zoning code for assisted living facilities. And the applicant would like to expand their facility some across 2 of the neighboring parcels that they own. And so in order to expand the facility where they already are located, they would like to request a rezoning to OI, because the new zoning code that we have allows assisted living facilities in the OI or office institutional zoning district. The current future land use for the site is community live, work, and rural neighborhood. And so a future land use change will be necessary should a rezoning be granted for part of the site. And I can show you some maps. So here you'll see this is where the current assisted living facility is. It's called Pruitt Health. Pruitt Health also owns these 2 neighboring parcels. And so they'd like to expand their facility just slightly. So this is the future land use map. So this area here, local live work, OI, is a zoning designation in the local live work area here, but it's not a zoning designation that's permitted in the future land use for the rural neighborhood, which is these 2 neighboring parcels. And on this map, you can see that it's zoned TR already, where it's located. And then these 2 are zoned AG1. So they're requesting to rezone this parcel, and this parcel from TR and AG1 to OI, so that they're all part of the same zoning petition. This is an example of what the site plan looks like right now. So here's the facility. Here's the parking lot. And then this is just undeveloped land here with trees. And then this is what they're proposing. Here's the site plan here. Here's the current facility. They're adding some more beds back here. And then they're moving the parking lot back, and I'll go back. So this is the parking lot they have right now. And I think there's parking here. And so then they're changing the parking lots to here and here, so that they can expand it, so they can expand some of their beds back in this direction. And I believe that the petitioner is on the call.
Hi, yes, I'm on.
Okay, would you like to do your presentation, Danny?
Yes, please. Did you have the slides, or did you want me to share? I sent them
You
over
can
this
share
morning.
them, please.
Yeah, let me just get that open. Sorry about that. Sorry, it's just opening. I wasn't expecting to have to share. Let's see. Okay. Awesome. Sorry about that. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, great. So to introduce myself, I'm Danny Blumenthal with Battle Law PC 3562 Habersham at Northlake in Tucker. So thank you, Marissa, for kind of explaining the gist of this. But basically, yeah, we're seeking to rezone property located at 7540, 7550, and 7560 Butner Road. So the purpose of this is to rezone, is to expand both the nursing home facility as well as the parking lot. But actually, we're not seeking to add any beds. It's kind of just reconfiguring the interior to make it so there's some more private rooms. But there's just not enough parking really for the number of beds there are currently. It's pretty small. If you saw that site plan, I'll bring that back up shortly. So this is the site just from Google Earth to give you an idea of what we're talking about. So, running north-south here is Butner Road. And then that building down on the corner is on the bottom of the screen is the existing facility. You can see a pretty small parking lot along Butner, and then also parallel to the building here, running perpendicular to Butner. So they're really just seeking to expand the building a little bit out and then push that parking lot back. We're not seeking to touch that top parcel. I'll show you just up here. It's really just to keep that all consistent, that zoning on all three parcels that they own. So here's the zoning map. I think that Marissa showed this earlier, but so it's this tan parcel, which is the townhouse residential, and then the two parcels north of that, which are agricultural. And then surrounding that, there's some community unit plans, and there's a few different zonings, but this is really consistent. And again, we're not really seeking to do any, change any uses or anything like that, just to expand the facility. And then again, it's rural neighborhood and community live work. And surrounding it is some undeveloped land, and there's some, subdivisions surrounding it as well. So this is how it looks now, the site. I know Marissa brought this up earlier. You can see there's the building, there's the very small parking lot. I just want to show for reference. The building, we're not seeking to expand it in any, large capacity. It's really just to make it so there's some additional private rooms inside for the residents. And then also to add an additional entrance. Also on Butner Road, not far from where the existing entrance is, and then the additional parking spots as well. And as you can see up here, the northern parcel, we're not seeking on doing anything there. I'm really just seeking to keep that undeveloped as it currently is. But again, we just want to keep that consistent throughout the properties. I don't know how much you want to look into this. This is just the plan of the building, and then you can see the addition. So I'm not sure if it's cut off for you, but in the top, you can see on the left side is the addition. It's really just some private rooms. And then on the right side here is the existing building. And at this time, that concludes my presentation. So I'm going to pass it back over to staff, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So at this time, Dana, do we have any questions or comments from the community?
Yes, I have one person, and they have about 10 questions. So here we go. How large of an expansion is being proposed for the nursing home facility?
Sorry, my screen is frozen. I can try to look on the plans. I don't know offhand, but I do have it open here. Do you want to read the next question? Maybe I can answer that offhand while I'm waiting for this to open up.
Sure. The current occupancy versus the planned future occupancy.
That is an easy one. We're not planning on increasing the occupancy at all. Again, just some more private rooms instead of the shared rooms.
Current employment FTE versus planned future employment.
Again, I don't think that there'll be any change there because they're not seeking on adding any residents based on this plan.
Okay. Current office space, square footage of offices versus planned future office space.
I don't believe that we're seeking to add office space. I think it's just the private rooms, but that's something that if I find that to be different, I can maybe reach back out to you or staff, and you can get that answered for whoever it is that asked this question, or you can reach out to us directly. But I don't believe that we're increasing any office space in there.
Okay. Current size of parking lot versus planned future parking lot. Number of spots.
Right. I don't know the dimensions of the parking lot, but again, that's something else that I'd be happy to send that back over to you, and then hopefully can just, get that out, and we can have that information also ready for the hearing coming up.
Okay. On average, how many daily visitors does the current facility experience today? What is the future forecast post expansion? How much of this visitation is commercial, delivery trucks, police, fire, EMS?
I don't know the number of people that visit every day, but it won't be, that won't be changing in any capacity based on, again, there won't be any new residences there. So there won't be any additional need for, food deliveries or visitors, anything like that. But I don't know the exact number or ratio of who's going on a daily basis.
Okay, how many traffic studies have been completed for the nearest intersection, Butner and Ridge and 92, and what were the results?
I don't know the traffic study is not required for this type of a project. Our team has not conducted a traffic study. Again, it's not required, as we're not seeking to change a use, increase the use or intensity of the site. So that's not something that our team has conducted.
Okay, how much forestry will be destroyed? What impact will this have on global warming? What remediation efforts will be pursued?
So really we're seeking on keeping most of the trees and the landscaping as it is. So as you can see on the site plan that's open now, anything that doesn't have the parking lot, which is not much bigger than currently is, and I'll look into the exact dimensions. And the building again is just a slight expansion. The rest of those 3 parcels will remain undeveloped, and in that sense, if you can see, and it's pretty small here, all these little black dots on that top parcel, and there's a few on the parcel below as well. Those are all tree safe information. So that's the native trees that have been there for I don't know how long, quite some time. They're fully grown, so those will all remain there. So that really is what the main goal here is to keep that undeveloped, and then also in the parking lot and surrounding the existing and proposed expansion, there's some open space there as well, and then the islands within the parking lot.
What if any outreach has been made to the community, to the direct neighbors? What were the results of those outreach efforts?
Yeah, so we had a community meeting a little while back. I don't remember the exact date. We did have a community meeting. We typically send out notices, either postcards or a letter to people between 750 and 1,000 feet surrounding the edges of the property. I don't believe anyone showed up to that meeting, but we did send it out, and we'd be happy to, to hold another meeting if anyone's interested in that. But we had no, we had quite a bit of outreach in that sense, but no one seemed to have any questions or concerns on it at the time.
What if any, benefits will be enjoyed by the community by the direct neighbors?
I mean, I think that a benefit of this is allowing the applicant here to rezone. They're seeking here to keep a lot of that property, really most of the, majority of those top 2 parcels undeveloped. And I, think that that's something that the community members surrounding it and in the greater area would appreciate, because there's a lot of development coming now in the Metro Atlanta area specifically. So, they have no plans to put anything there. They just want to have that property kind of as a buffer, and also just to be able to protect it for years to come. So I think that's a good benefit for everyone. And also it really just, it makes that space more livable for the residents of the nursing home. So I think that there's something that, there's something there that it's a positive, it's a benefit to the people that are living there already, and people that will be, coming in the future to live there as well.
Specific to section 3 of your application, in plain English, what would make denial of this request for a zoning change arbitrary, irrational, unconstitutional?
That section, I believe you're referring to the constitutional allegations. That is really just something we include in every application, essentially just preserving our rights. That really is the extent of it. It's preserving the rights of the applicant as well as the agent.
The next question, it's referring to section 3, because you noticed that it was both cases today. So is this simply boilerplate language your firm adds to the zoning change request? Has your firm ever submitted a zoning change request to COSF without this language?
We, as long as I've been with Battle Law over a year now, and we've not submitted any application in any capacity without some version of that language. Of course, we just make it applicable to whatever jurisdiction or whatever type of application we're filing.
What, if any, consideration have you given to the constitutional rights of the neighboring landowners?
I mean, honestly, this I feel like is a very low intense use. We are not seeking to make this more intense. We're not seeking to bring any more people, any additional traffic. We are seeking to keep most of this property undeveloped. And I think that, at least just speaking of what I would think, and of course no one came to our community meeting, so I can't say exactly what they'd want to see, but I think that they'd like to see it, kind of left as is. And to a great extent, that's what the applicant is trying to do here. So, I mean, we're keeping this buffer, which, and I don't know, constitutionally speaking, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't want to, I can't use much lawyer jargon there. But I think that this is very respectful of the surrounding neighbors. And I'd like to, hear from anyone if they think otherwise, because we'd be happy to work with them on that.
What happens to the existing facility if this application is denied?
The existing facility would run exactly as it has been since the 90s. So there'd be no changes.
Okay, that was from Elise Fisher. This is from Gloria Real Estate Lady. Why is the additional entrance and parking spaces needed? I live in the area and I have not noticed any congestions. Perhaps the answer to the questions asked need to be answered and publicized before moving forward.
Okay, it sounds like maybe we should have an additional community meeting so we can try to set that up, but it's not because there's congestion. I think it just increases the flow of the parking lot, and the need for the additional parking lot or the expansion of the parking lot is just because there's not enough spaces when visitors come. You know, workers take up quite a few spots, and there were not many to begin with, and it wasn't functioning properly. So adding more would really just make it so it's easier for visitors and people that work there, and if any residents have cars, it just makes it easier for them.
Okay, that concludes the questions in our planning email.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll go on ahead to our next case, which is Z2115, and it's a rezoning at 7425, 7329 Bethsaida Drive and 2234, 2224, and 0 Bethsaida Road, and it's located in District 7. So this site is zoned AG1 and C1 currently. A little bit of background that I can offer on the C1 rezoning. It looks like in the 1970s, one of the property owners had a residence in an AG1 parcel, and he wanted a small out parcel that was 2 acres to operate a cabinet shop. And so the Fulton County Board of Commissioners in the 70s granted him the C1 as an accessory to his single family AG1 dwelling. And it wasn't like a heavily intensive C1 use. And as far as I can see from my research, it currently isn't being used as C1. It's just a single family residence there today. And so this site is zoned AG1, and the petitioner would like to rezone to R5, and they want to develop a single family residential subdivision, and they're proposing 95 single family homes. The current future land use is split between suburban 2 neighborhood and community live work. So a future land use change will be necessary for the community live work portion of the site should a rezoning be granted. So here's the site. It's these parcels up here at the top, and then these parcels here at the bottom. I believe there is a small building here, and that is not included in the rezoning. And here's the zoning right now. It's zoned AG1 mostly, and here's that C1 parcel here that's standing out that I mentioned earlier. I wanted to let you know what it was, or what the zoning case was there, so that you would understand what was going on. So it's these parcels here, and then again, excluding this section. And this is what I mean by the future land use. So a majority of the site, as you can see, is in suburban neighborhood 2, where R5 is an allowed zoning district. And then this piece here in community live work is also included in the site, and that is not part of the suburban 2 future land use. And so if this is adopted, this piece here would need a future land use change. And here's the site. So there's an entrance here on Bethsaida Drive, and there's an entrance here on Bethsaida Road. There is a stream buffer that will remain undisturbed that runs through the site, and there's some stormwater management areas also. And then, as I mentioned, this is the part of the site here that's going to be left out. If we go back a little bit, also for reference, over here is Clayton County. So the part where there isn't any color, that is Clayton County, and that's where the city of South Fulton boundary ends. Okay. And so, Danny, did you want to share your presentation again?
Yes, ma'am. And I've got it ready this time, so I can just let's see. It's okay. If you could end your share, it's saying I have to wait for the screen share to end. Sorry, Marissa, I'm not sure if that's you or if it's Dana, but if you could end the screen share so I could get up the slides, please. Awesome, thank you. All right, so while this is getting up, again, good evening, Danny Blumenthal with Battle Law PC, 3562 Habersham at Northlake and Tucker. Sorry about that. So as Marissa said, and thank you for that presentation, we're seeking to rezone properties on Bethsaida Drive and Bethsaida Road. So the purpose here is to rezone from AG1 to R5 to allow for 95 fee simple single family detached homes. That's a mouthful, but basically 95 detached homes all for sale at a density of 1.95 units per acre. And this actually in the suburban 2 neighborhood future land use district. So up to 5 units per acre would be permissible, but that's just not consistent with the surrounding neighborhood. And we didn't feel that was appropriate. So 1.95 units per acre, again, with a walking trail. So for some contextual reference here, it's mostly this area in here that's currently undeveloped. There's actually a church that is the Christians for Change Baptist Church, which is on the corner of Bethsaida Road and Bethsaida Drive. We actually had a community meeting a few weeks back, and then this morning we had a follow-up meeting with trustees from that church, and they're pretty supportive of this project. We're just working with them on some questions they had regarding landscape and placement of the stormwater facilities and things like that. But we have been working with them pretty closely. So the zoning, yeah, we're AG1 over here. We're with a little bit of C1, but primarily agricultural, and then we're in the suburban 2. So again, the 5 units per acre is allowed, but we don't need to change the future land use. For this, it's consistent with the rezoning that we're seeking. So here's the site plan that Marissa brought up earlier. So it's a little under 49 acres in total. Again, for 95 lots is what we're seeking. There'll be 2 entrances, one on Bethsaida Road with a deceleration and left turn lanes proposed. And then same thing on Bethsaida Drive down here, which is just below that church that I was talking about. And there is the stream buffer in here. We're only going to, or like seeking to put roads over it where necessary, but otherwise we'll leave undisturbed with that 75-foot buffer on either side as to not cause any environmental or flooding issues. So I have a few of the proposed elevations here. So this one is a 4-bed, 3-bath home with a 3-car garage right up front, a little over 3,000 square feet. And on the right here, you can see there's just some floor plans here of there's a floor plan of each floor. So there's a loft, a breakfast area, there's fireplaces, a mudroom, nice high vaulted ceilings and walk-in closets. So it's a really modern, a modern home, especially on the interior. And the exterior just has some nice finishes like brick and stone. But we'll go through building materials at the end of this. So this is another proposed building here, 4 beds, 3.5 bath, this time with a 2-car garage, a little over 2,700 square feet here. This one also with a breakfast area, fireplace, vaulted ceilings, and walk-in closets. And just our last proposed elevation here. So just a little different than the others. This is actually the smallest of the 3, but still fairly large in my opinion. Just over 2,600 square feet, 4-bed, 2.5 bath, a 2-car garage, and then also with the loft, breakfast area, fireplaces, vaulted ceilings, and the walk-in closets here as well. And this is primarily a brick front facade. And just to go over some frequently asked questions before we get to questions, of course, I'll answer, to any extent that I can, questions that come up after this. But the proposed building materials will be brick and stone facades with fiber cement siding, 25-year high quality weathered wood shingles, and energy efficient vinyl windows. The unit sizes will range from 2,680 square feet up to 3,155 square feet. There'll be 4 and 5 bedroom homes with 2 and 3 car garages. The amenity will be a walking trail throughout the community. And the anticipated starting price is $310,000. If this project is approved, it is expected to take 12 months to finish the land development, and then an additional 6 months for the first homes to be available for sale. And they'll primarily be marketed to local residents who want to transform from renting to owning, and then also to people that are new to the Metro Atlanta area. So again, at this time, that concludes my presentation, but I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, I do have one question for this petition, and then before we move on to the next petition, I missed one question for Z2114. So for this one, what is the rationale for the R5 zoning?
So there's a few reasons there, and I know we discussed this a bit in our community meeting, but it comes down to lot dimensions, a lot of it. For what's allowed, because of course every zoning category has a different density that's allowed, different dimensional requirements essentially for each lot. So being that there's a stream buffer, this is being kind of in the way of a portion of it that we're of course leaving undisturbed, but this is really what made the most sense. And also something that comes into play always is the price. So there is costs associated with land development as well as, right, so like building roads and doing all that kind of stuff, sidewalks, and that needs to be spread out amongst all of the homeowners. That kind of gets parsed out when people buy the homes, but prices are really high for land development, materials, lumber, just labor in general also. So this kind of is the point where we felt made the most sense as far as dispersing all of those costs to the homeowners in a way to not, to make it accessible, to not make those prices too high for the area.
Okay, the next question is and that question was from Michael Venable. This question is from Atlanta Real Estate Lady. Who is the builder for this project?
That builder is not 100% solidified on this. I know that the developer is having talks with, I believe it's Knight Homes or DRB Group. They're having conversations right now, but that's not something that has been officially decided. But it'll be an Atlanta metro area local builder on these for sure.
Okay, so we don't have any more questions for this one. So to go back to the assisted living project, does the AG1 zoning need to be changed for them to create parking in the adjacent lots?
Yes. AG1 would not allow the parking lot, to my knowledge, which was the reason we were initially, because our initial thought process was just to rezone that one parcel that we're expanding into, that middle parcel there that I think is 7550 Butner. And then it seemed to kind of just make sense to make that all continuous, that zoning, because it's the same, the same owner, essentially the same group of owners that has that whole property. So that's why we decided to rezone that whole, all 3 parcels. But yeah, I think that would be necessary to rezone from
Okay.
AG1.
The next question goes back to the case we're on now.
Okay.
How wide are the streets, and will there be room for parking and delivery vehicles, including USPS, Amazon, and UPS?
Yeah, so I believe, I can't see because it's pretty small now, but I believe the city or the county requirements would be at least 55 feet. Let me see, it would be, the short answer is, I believe it's 55 feet. If not, it'd be 50 feet. But either way, they will be, acceptable by the code, by the local ordinance, as far as the right of way requirements. And that would be wide enough for delivery vehicles, emergency vehicles, like, fire, police, just in case, they definitely would be accessible for any type of vehicle.
Okay, and that concludes the questions for this one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So to our next case is U21005, and this is a use permit application for a hair salon. So the applicant is applying for a new business license for a hair salon. Our city council adopted a new zoning code in December of 2020, and it requires that all new hair salon businesses obtain a special use permit, which is approved by council. This was previously an existing salon, but during the pandemic, the business license expired, and it had been expired for a period of more than 6 months because of the pandemic. And so in order to obtain a new license, the applicant is going to be required to go before council and get a special use permit. The address is zone C2, and C2 and the hair salon is allowed in C2 with the provision of a special use permit, and C2 is allowed per the future land use and the regional live work land use category. So here's an aerial view of the site here. If you're familiar with the area, it is a little east. It's a few shops east of the Publix shopping center. So here's Publix, this site, and then here's the hair salon here, and it's located on Cascade Road. Here's an aerial view. And then here's the future land use map. It's regional live work, which is the pink area here, and it's zone C2, which is located here. Here is an idea of what the inside of the shop looks like. There's the front door here. There's the front door here. There's a seating area and a receptionist area here. And then this area is booths. And then this area back here is shampoo bowls. And then this is the back door, which is an exit. And the applicant was able to send me some more photos of the inside. And so this picture is standing in the front door. If you look to the left, there's a receptionist area. And if you look to the right, there's some seating. If you go in a little bit farther, here are some of the salon booths. And then towards the rear, there are some shampoo bowls here. And the applicant is on the call. Ms. Robinson, would you like to tell us about your project?
Hi everyone. My name is Giovanni Robbins. We've been in operation for a couple years, and we just would like to, be reissued a use permit so we can continue to operate in the South Fulton area.
Thank you
Can
so
everybody
much.
hear me? Oh,
Yes,
thank you.
we can hear you. Thank you so much. Dana, do we have any comments regarding this petition?
No, we do not.
Okay. So we will move on to our next case.
All righty, thank you for that, Marissa. Good evening, residents and those who are listening. We're present to hear of the, first announcement of some amendments to the zoning ordinance that our city initiated text amendments. Next slide, Marissa, please. So on December 8th of 2020, council adopted their first zoning ordinance. Since that time, we have identified some additional needs that we would like to see within the zoning ordinance. And I'll go through each of those. And so one particular use that we're looking to amend would be the gas station use allowance. And we currently do not allow for gas stations inside of the M2 zoning classification. And we're looking to amend that to allow for it to be within Fulton Industrial Boulevard. It should be in a right out allowed use. But outside of Fulton Industrial Boulevard, it will have the special use permit request or requirement just as the other gas station uses within the zoning code. The Cedar Grove Overlay District, as well as the Cedar Grove Agricultural Overlay District, there are some things within those particular areas that will need some amendments. Previously, let me go back, the M2 zoning classification change for the gas station was initiated by Councilwoman Rao, and then the Cedar Grove mentionings that I just identified are identified by Councilwoman Gilliard. So with that, we find that these edits are necessary for the Cedar Grove area. For the R5A district / creation of tiny homes, this was a edit request by Councilmember Reeves. He's looking to reduce the square footage of homes down to 400 square feet. Next slide, please. The Red Oak Community Overlay District. This is initiated by Councilwoman Willis, but mentioned inside of the comp plan for 2021 that will be soon adopted. The 2021 comprehensive plan identified the need to create additional overlay areas or overlay districts within the city. And Councilwoman Willis wanted to be the first to initiate this particular request within the comprehensive plan to allow for the Red Oak Community Overlay District. In addition to that, we have the special use permit section that will have some edits and changes to where we're expanding some of the standards and requirements within special use permits. In addition, we have the minimum home size addition for AG1 to be identified. We have not identified a minimum heated square feet within that particular zoning classification. We're looking to mimic that very close to what R1 requires. Next, we have the recreational courts. We do not identify that as a use within the zoning code for zoning classifications, and we're looking to add that into the code to make that a permitted use within section 302.09. And then lastly, we're looking to expand the denial timeframes. So if council rejects or denies a rezoning modification or wherever the request may be with concurrent variances, if they deny it today, it's a 6-month wait before the application for the same request may come about, but we're looking to amend that to make it 1 full year now to allow for there to be an additional time to be given to allow for there to be more time to work through some of the difficulties that the applicant may be having that would have allowed for that rejection to be provided. We have additional calendar dates coming before you. Marissa, if I may, I would like to share just the screen that gives me the opportunity to share my calendar. Will you allow for that, please? So that I can show the upcoming dates for this.
Yes, you can share.
Thank you. Okay, as shown here, you will see where there are upcoming dates for this particular item. For the zoning text amendments today, November 8th, we're having the CZIM meeting. It will move over to council tomorrow for a work session to hear more in depth of what these items will call for. We definitely encourage you all to attend that meeting if you would like to learn more about each individual item in the presentation being shared. Next, it goes to the Planning Commission on November 16th to receive its first recommendation over to Mayor and Council. It goes to Mayor and Council on both December 14th and the 21st. December 14th will serve as the first reading of the ordinance for council, and then the 21st will have the second reading with the opportunity for it to be eligible for vote on December 21st, which will allow for these to go active after that meeting. So those are the dates. Again, tomorrow is a work session that will allow for there to be an opportunity to hear more in depth of each of those items. And that concludes my report. Thank you so much, Marissa.
I think we might have one more slide. Let me see. This one?
Oh. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you, Marissa. Awesome. So in addition to that, we have the expansion of FIB. We are excited. I can't believe I didn't say this one first. We are excited that FIB is officially in our city limits. And of course, our zoning codes must be reflective of that addition to allow for us to have zoning restrictions or zoning parameters added to that particular area that will be identical and similar to what Fulton County has for them now for Fulton Industrial. And then lastly, the special events portion of it. So the special events portion of the zoning ordinance, we're looking to edit that out of the zoning ordinance and allow for there to be one special events ordinance within itself. We have identified for special events to be mentioned in city ordinances 4 to 5 different times. And rather than allowing it to be 4 to 5 different times in 4 to 5 different ordinances, we're looking to combine it into one main ordinance to allow for it to be more orchestrated and designed for staff to understand what the provisions are for that particular use. I believe now that concludes my report, Marissa.
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Thank you.
Mr. Gray, do we have any comments from the community?
Yes, we do. From Mr. Michael Venable, using R5 as a zoning area for tiny homes is discriminatory, as R5 zonings are only in South Fulton areas, District 5 through 7. A tiny home area needs its own district or special use. There is no reason areas in District 1 through 4 should be protected and the other districts are not. That concludes.
Okay, well, thank you for the comments. And if there are no other comments at this time, that concludes our presentation. Thank you so much, guys, for spending your evening with us. Enjoy the rest of your day.